here when something floods your mind. So when something floods your mind, it suddenly fills your mind with a rush of thoughts, memories, or feelings. The word flood by itself is usually related to water. In some places in the world, sometimes when there's a storm or very heavy rain, some places, some houses get flooded. It's a terrible situation, but this happens sometimes. This is flood, okay? The literal meaning. But here, when something floods your mind, imagine you have a rush, a huge amount of thoughts, memories, or feelings coming at you at once. For example, memories of his childhood flooded his mind when he visited his old school. It's almost like he visited his old school and then all those memories came flooding his mind. It was a lot at once, okay? We also have the word nod. When you nod, you lower and raise your head slightly and briefly, especially in greeting, assent, or understanding. Basically, when you move your head up and down to indicate that you agree with someone or you are listening to someone, like this. So right now, as I'm talking to you, I am nodding my head, or I'm nodding, okay? For example, he nodded in agreement when asked if he understood the instructions. And finally, we have the word tingle. The story was saying that he felt a tingling feeling. Yeah, something was tingling. Yeah? So when something tingles, it has a slight stinging or prickling sensation. You feel a little bit of a prickle. You know, when you take a blood test, for example, or when you have to take a shot, usually when the needle enters your skin, you feel that tingling sensation, that prickling sensation. Go like that. This is tingling, okay? For example, her cheeks tingled from the cold wind. That's an example, all right? So there you have it. So far we have covered day 1, the Mystery Monday, and then day 2 is the Fantasy Tuesday. Day 3 was the Sci-Fi Wednesday. What's day 4? What kind of story are you going to practice reading aloud there? Day 4 is a romance story, and it's called Romance Thursday, Love in Translation. So let's read here the first paragraph of the story. Emma's heart skipped a beat when she saw the handsome exchange student, Liam. There was just one problem. He only spoke English, and her English skills were basic at best. Determined, Emma signed up for intensive English classes. Each new word and phrase felt like a step closer to Liam. Little did she know, Liam had a secret of his own. He was learning her language too. Interesting. So what do you think is going to happen here? Again, make sure you check it out by downloading the PDF. But anyway, out of this paragraph, I think the expression that caught my attention the most was to skip a beat. To skip a beat. So this is an expression that has 2 meanings. The first meaning is related to your heart, and that's the meaning in the story. Okay? So it means to miss a beat. You know, your heart beats. So if it skips a beat, it's like you miss a beat. This describes the feeling of a sudden jolt or flutter in your chest, often caused by surprise, excitement, or fear. For example, my heart skipped a beat when I saw my favorite band walk onto the stage. Imagine you are watching your favorite band coming up on stage, live. Your heart skipped a beat in that moment, like, oh, this is so cool. So we started the story here talking about Emma and how she skipped a beat when she saw the handsome student, Liam. She must have seen him and go, wow, you know, like that. That's the idea here. But this expression can also mean to hesitate or falter. It means to pause briefly or lose your composure, usually due to surprise or shock. For example, without skipping a beat, she came up with a perfect response to the interviewer's difficult question. In this context, without skipping a beat means without any hesitation. But again, in the story, skipping a beat is more related to this idea of being excited about something, like your favorite band or a person who you are attracted to. After all, this is a romance story, right? So let's move on now to day 5 of the challenge. And now you have an action story to read on day 5. This is the Action Friday, the English Escape Room. So let's read the introduction to this story. Jack's heart raced as he entered the notorious English escape room. You have 60 minutes to solve the language puzzles and find the exit, a voice announced. The clock started ticking. Jack faced walls covered in grammar rules, tongue twisters, and idiomatic expressions. He had to use all his English skills to survive. Could he crack the code and escape before time ran out? What's gonna happen? Is Jack gonna be able to get out of the escape room? You have to read the rest and find out. But let me just quickly explain here some useful vocabulary. We have crack the code. When you crack the code or when you crack a code, you figure out a complex problem or a hidden meaning to something. For example, the detective finally cracked the code and discovered who the murderer was. You see, the detective discovered or figured out that complex problem or found a hidden meaning in order to solve that case. We have the word notorious also in the story. Something notorious is famous or well known, but typically for some bad quality or action. For example, the pirate Blackbeard was notorious for his cruelty. In other words, he was famous for his cruelty. In the story here, we were talking about the notorious English escape room. So this escape room was famous for being maybe very hard to escape, very hard to get out of. Got it? We also have when a person's heart races. We start the story, remember, saying that Jack's heart raced. This describes the feeling of your heart beating very fast, often due to excitement, fear, exertion, or stress. So your heart races, okay? For example, her heart raced as she waited for the race to begin. So she was really excited and her heart was beating very fast. In other words, her heart raced. And finally, we have the expression when time runs out. When time runs out, there is no time left to do something. It's when a deadline has been reached. You have no more time. For example, they had to make a decision before time ran out. In other words, before time ended. Okay? Then we move on to day 6 of this challenge, which is the Historical Fiction Saturday, the Time Traveling Tutor. Now we have a historical fiction story to read on Saturday. So, listen to the introduction. In 1815 London, young Alice dreamed of becoming a writer, but her English skills were lacking. One foggy night, a mysterious figure appeared in her room. "I am William Shakespeare," he announced, "sent through time to tutor you in the art of English." Alice's eyes widened with disbelief and excitement. Her journey through the history of the English language was about to begin. By the way, what do you think of my British accent? I know it's not the best, but the point here, guys, is that I'm enjoying myself as I'm reading this. I'm having fun, and so should you. As you read these stories day after day for a week in this challenge, have fun, enjoy yourself, be a little bit silly, play with different voices, different emotions, different accents even. You are practicing speaking in a fun way. And you can do this 100% alone, by yourself at home. Okay, so have fun with it. Don't take yourself so seriously. Okay, let me just explain here a couple of words from this paragraph. First of all, when something is lacking. When something is lacking, this thing is missing, is insufficient or inadequate. It's not enough. For example, the cake was delicious, but it was lacking in frosting. The frosting is the top of the cake, basically, you know? So that part of the cake was lacking, was missing, insufficient, or inadequate. And another nice phrase here is when a person's eyes widen, with disbelief. Okay? When a person's eyes widen with disbelief. This describes the facial expression that occurs when someone is shocked or astonished to the point of not believing what they are seeing or hearing. For example, her eyes widened with disbelief when she heard the news of the lottery win. So picture her eyes widening, you see, opening wide with disbelief, like she couldn't believe it. She didn't believe it. I won the lottery? It's like, you see, my eyes are widening with disbelief right now. This is a great phrase. Memorize it, okay? So after day 6, we finally come to the last day of this challenge. And the last day I call the Freestyle Sunday. And the story is titled The Language of Dreams. Freestyle Sunday because this last story is kind of a mix of a bunch of genres together. You know, it's not just one specific genre, but it's a little mix of everything, okay? So again, let me read the first paragraph here to you. So listen. Maya always had vivid dreams, but lately they were different. In her dreams, she could speak perfect English. She explored bustling cities, debated philosophy, and even performed on stage, all in flawless English. But as soon as she woke up, the words slipped away. One night, she met a dream guide who offered to help her bring her dream English into the waking world. Maya's adventure to bridge her two worlds had just begun. All right? Moving on here to a couple of definitions. I really like this expression, bustling cities or a bustling city. A bustling city is a city full of activity and people. For example, the bustling city never seemed to sleep with its bright lights and constant noise. So usually if you come from a very big city, or if you live in one, chances are you live in a bustling city. It's a city where stores open up to late or they stay open 24/7. There's always something going on in the city. You know, this is like the city never sleeps. You know, that's a bustling city. And we also have this very nice phrasal verb, to slip away. When something slips away, it leaves discreetly or unnoticed. Just leaves, disappears without people realizing it. For example, she slipped away from the party without saying goodbye. Got it? She slipped away from the party without saying goodbye. Nobody noticed. Maybe people just realized it much, much later. Okay? And there you have it. This is your 7-day speaking challenge revolving the topic of storytelling. So each day of the week, you will read aloud a different 500-word story. And each day, you're going to be working with a different genre. All right? Don't forget to download the PDF for this lesson here. Again, you can download the free version, which only has the stories for you to practice reading aloud. But if you want to take your learning further, I recommend you download the full version of the PDF, either by joining my private community and accessing the file there, or by purchasing the solo file for $5. Okay, remember that the full version comes with an extensive list of nice vocabulary from these stories. In today's episode, I explained to you some of this vocabulary, some of these words, but there are many, many more, and you can access that in the full version of the PDF, okay? So try this challenge and let me know later what you thought about it. You know, you can leave me a comment here under this video or in an upcoming video sharing, what you thought about this challenge. I'm curious to know. Speaking of sharing messages with me, now it's a perfect moment for us to jump into the Learner's Corner. And for today's Learner's Corner, I have here an email from a follower named Rafael Vergada. And Rafael says, "Hi, Thiago. My name is Rafael. I am from Andorra, a little Pyrenean country between Spain and France. I try to listen to one of your podcasts every day. I find them very interesting. My level of English is B2, C1, and I want to try to read a book in English, but I don't know which one to choose. Can you recommend some of them? I'm not used to reading books. Thanks a lot." Rafael, first of all, thank you for writing. And I think it's great that you are looking to start reading in English. This is an excellent habit that I believe every learner should adopt. Read a book in English. At least one book in English every 2 or 3 months, but read one because it helps with your vocabulary range. You learn more words. It helps with your grammar because you learn how the words are written, how the structures are written, the punctuation, So, reading is an excellent exercise and habit for you to adopt. Now, about recommending some books for you to read, I'm not a big fan of that question, to be honest, because I think that this is something very personal. It's just like I've had other students asking me to recommend a movie to watch or a TV show to watch. Yes, I can name here some of my favorites, but at the end of the day, I think it's nice for you to pick the books that you want to read. First of all, are you more into fiction or nonfiction? Fiction stories are stories that don't exist. For example, Game of Thrones, Harry Potter, these are fiction books. Nonfiction books are books about real things like business, marketing, self-help, psychology, philosophy, So what kind of books are you more interested in? You can start with that question. Are you more into fiction or nonfiction? So start with one of those, all right? Now, what I'm going to recommend actually is not one book per se, but a website that can help you decide on which book to start reading in English now and which books to start reading next. And this website is called Goodreads, goodreads.com. This is an excellent website. Think about Goodreads as almost like a social media for readers because, you can add friends there, by creating an account, and your friends can see your favorite books. You can see your friends' favorite books, many lists. Also, this website offers an extensive catalog of books. So you can search for the greatest books of the 20th century there. You can also search for books by filtering through genres, horror, mystery, history, sci-fi, business books, marketing books, So you can also filter your search there, and you get to see as well the review of each book, how many stars out of 5 each book has. You can read other people's reviews of those books, You can see if people are enjoying those books or not, what they have to say about those books. So I would recommend just going to Goodreads, create a free account there, and start using Goodreads to make your own list of books that you want to read in English, to search for titles there. I think that's the best way, actually, So here's my recommendation to you. Go to goodreads.com, and I'm sure that you will find a book there for you to start reading in English. Because at the end of the day, what's important here is that you develop the habit of reading in English. What kind of book you read is a minor detail. It doesn't really matter what book you pick to read. Just like, if you want to start watching movies and TV series in English more often, what movie or TV show you pick to watch is a minor detail. What matters is that you develop the habit of watching those regularly, right? So just pick something that is mildly interesting to you, that you find, intrigued by, and start reading this book or start watching that movie or TV show. you know? And then if you read the book and you realize that you don't like it, that's okay. And then you pick another book and then you read that one, you know? It's kind of you will only know the books that you like or don't like when you read them. Yeah, when you read. So just focus now on developing the habit of reading books in English. Don't get so bogged down with what books should I read first. You know, any book that you find appealing, that you find interesting. Okay. And, you know, you can actually start with this challenge from this episode. This challenge presented you with 7 fictional stories. Start there. Start reading these stories, 1 per day aloud, and then you can pick a book to read right after. Okay? But thanks for sending your email, and I wish you success on your English learning journey. All right? Guys, if you want to do it just like Rafael, you can write me an email with your question, comment, anything that you want to share here on the show. To send me an email, you can do so at hello.teachertiago@gmail.com. Or if you prefer, you can also send me an audio message of about 90 seconds. And to send me this audio message, you could go to speakpipe.com/EnglishWithTiago. All right? That is speakpipe.com/EnglishWithTiago. I hope you enjoyed this speaking challenge today. Again, try it. Let me know how it goes for you if you enjoy it. And don't forget to download one of the versions of the PDF so that you can take this challenge. All right? A free way for you to support my work here on YouTube is by leaving a like on this video, leaving a comment, letting me know about what you thought about this video, about this challenge. Also sharing this video with your social circle, you know, and of course, subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. If you are listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, you can follow the show, like I've already said, and leave me a 5-star review on those platforms as well. But that's it for now, guys. I'm Thiago. I'm signing off. Do take that challenge and let me know later how it goes for you. I'm signing off, and I'll be talking to you very soon in the upcoming episode. Have a great challenge. Bye-bye.
Hello and welcome to a fabulous video for improving your English if you are an English student. In this video, we're going to test your English vocabulary. We're going to look at words that are very important. They are very common and necessary to speak fluent English. Yet a lot of students, intermediate and advanced students, don't know these words, or they're difficult to remember. So let's see how many you know and how many you can learn today. The first word is windy. Windy. Do you know what this word means? Be careful. It looks like windy. And yes, it is spelled exactly the same as windy, but it has a different pronunciation. Windy just means that there's a lot of wind, right? It's a windy day. There's a lot of wind outside. But the word that I'm asking you about is windy. Windy. Take a second to pause the video to tell me what that means, if you already know. Windy means full of curves or twists, basically not straight. Oftentimes, we're describing a road that has a lot of curves. We say the road is curvy, or we say the road is windy. Curvy or windy. I don't like to travel by bus on windy roads. It makes me sick. I get motion sickness from windy roads. I get car sick on windy roads. I would prefer a straight road instead of a windy road. The next word is crunchy. Crunchy. We use crunchy to describe something that makes a hard sound when you bite or break it. These chips are crunchy. I prefer crunchy peanut butter as opposed to smooth peanut butter. The leaves were dry and crunchy under my feet. The crunchy leaves. When the leaves fall off the tree in the fall time, where I'm from in Maine, the leaves get crunchy on the ground. So you walk on them and you're walking on crunchy leaves. The next word is bumpy. What does bumpy mean? Bumpy simply means not smooth, with a lot of raised areas or problems. The first thing that comes to mind is, again, a road. A bumpy road has a lot of, well, bumps. You're driving your car and you're bouncing up and down because there are a lot of bumps. It's a bumpy road. Maybe it's a road that's not very well taken care of, or when you're in a plane and there's a lot of turbulence, then it feels bumpy. The plane is going like this. Or maybe you have a lot of mosquito bites, so your arm feels bumpy. The next word is chubby. Do you know what chubby means? Chubby is like a little bit fat, but not as extreme as fat. It's usually not to the same extent as fat. It's like a little fat, and often in a cute or soft way. You know, like that's how we describe babies, because babies are usually chubby. They're not fat. It's healthy, it's natural, but they're just a little chubby. You know, they're not obese, just a little chubby. And that's one of the things that makes them so cute. They have little round chubby faces and big cheeks, chubby cheeks. The next word is stretchy. What is stretchy? Here, I have an example for you. This is what I would call a hair elastic. Now, it depends where you are from in the country or, you know, what your family says. Personally, I say hair elastic. Basically, it's just an elastic band that's for your hair. This is the best way to describe stretchy. You can stretch it without it breaking. You can pull it like this, you can move it like this, and it doesn't break. A lot of times when people do exercise or yoga, you know, they wear clothes that are stretchy, right? Stretchy yoga pants or a stretchy shirt. Right now I have a bit of a stretchy shirt on. All right, the next word is squishy. What is squishy? This is a cute word, isn't it? Squishy. Squishy is to describe something that's soft and easy to press. It's not firm. It's not hard. For example, a pillow is usually squishy. You know, you can squish your pillow. That's why they're so comfortable to lay on all night long. You squish them with your head. If you have a pillow that's not squishy, then it's not really a good pillow. All right, the next word is a verb. It is to stretch. Remember, we talked about stretchy. Now we have the verb to stretch. They are related. To stretch is to make something longer or looser by pulling it. For example, it's very common to stretch before you do exercise. Before you play a sport, usually you stretch your body. You have to stretch your muscles. You have to pull them in different positions for maybe 10, 20 seconds. So your muscles will loosen up and you won't get an injury when you play the sport. But also right now, I am stretching the elastic. The elastic is stretchy, and I am stretching it. All right, the next word is itchy. What is itchy? Itchy is for describing when you feel like scratching your skin. And we have a noun that is an itch. So, for example, if you have an itch, it feels itchy, and you want to itch it. So itch can be a noun, a verb, and itchy is the adjective. I have an itch, so I'm itching it, and it's so itchy. Oh, my itch is so itchy. I gotta itch it. We usually don't use all three in the same sentence because it's a little redundant, but all of those words exist. We use them all. You can say, I don't like this sweater. It's too itchy. Mosquito bites are so itchy. A lot of times we just say bug bites. Oh, I got bug bites on my legs. They itch so much. They're so itchy. My bug bites are so itchy. I need to itch them. I need to scratch them. To scratch is to do this. You can say to itch or to scratch. Scratch is a little bit more general, but to itch is a little more specific. It's when something is itchy. A lot of times we say that a part of our body itches. For example, oh, my back itches. My back itches. Oh, my foot itches. I have an itch on my foot. My foot itches. It's so itchy. The next word is fluffy. What is fluffy? It's to describe something light, soft, and full of air. We often use it to describe animals, the way that animals feel when you touch them, when you pet them. Cats are often fluffy because of their fur, or dogs can be fluffy depending on the type of dog. If their fur is very soft and light, we would say that they are fluffy. That cat is so fluffy. Or maybe you're eating pancakes and they're really thick, fluffy pancakes. Or maybe your pillow is very fluffy. The next word is wobbly. What does wobbly mean? Wobbly means not stable. It's something that's moving from side to side. It's shaking. Right now I'm sitting on a chair. Thankfully, it's not wobbly. It's not a wobbly chair. It's very sturdy. It's not moving. It's not shaking. It's not wobbly at all. Don't you just hate when you have a wobbly chair? It feels like it's gonna break. It feels like it's gonna fall. Maybe after you go on a long hike up a mountain. Maybe after your legs feel a bit wobbly. They don't feel so sturdy and secure. Maybe you need to sit down and rest for a bit. The next word is sticky. Sticky. We use this one a lot. Do you know what it means? Sticky is for describing something that attaches itself to things. It grabs onto things and it's hard to separate or clean. Like for example, when you eat fruit like mangoes, you get the mango juice all over your hands. After, your hands are gonna feel sticky. You need to wash your hands. Or maybe you accidentally get gum, chewing gum, in your hair. It sticks to your hair. It's hard to get out. A lot of foods are sticky. A lot of products and things that we use are sticky. If you use glue, if you're making something, if you're doing a project and you're using glue, that is the stickiest thing ever. Its purpose is to be sticky. So after, your hands are gonna feel sticky. Sometimes when it's really hot and humid, people say, I feel sticky. It feels so sticky. Like the air feels sticky. I feel wet and sticky because it's humid. The next word is slippery. Slippery. Slippery is used to describe something that's difficult to stand on or hold because it's smooth or wet. The most common way we use it is probably to talk about the floor. Watch out, the floor is slippery. Or the stairs are slippery. Maybe because they're wet. Maybe there's ice. A lot of times the roads, the driveways get really slippery because of ice. I have fallen and slid down a driveway on my butt because it was slippery. But we could also use slippery to describe a bar of soap. You know, it's very easy to drop a bar of soap because it's so slippery. You know, it's hard to hold on to it. It slips out of your hands. And when you're walking and you fall, you can say, oh, I slipped. I just slipped on the stairs. Watch out, they're slippery. The next word is wrinkly. Wrinkly. Maybe you've heard of wrinkles. The definition of wrinkly is having small lines, folds, or creases, usually from being bent, crushed, or aged. So probably the most common way that we use this is to talk about people who are aging, they are getting older, and they start to have the lines on their face, they start to get wrinkles. But it can also happen when you're in the water for too long and your fingers get wrinkly. You get those little lines on your fingertips and your fingers get wrinkly. But we also use it for clothes. And that's why the iron exists. That's why people iron clothes, to make the clothes all nice and flat and smooth and perfect without lines. Because oftentimes when you fold clothes, it creates these creases or lines in the clothes. So then you have to iron the clothes. Unless you're like me and you don't care about wearing wrinkly clothes. I've never used an iron in my life. Bring on the wrinkles. The next word is soggy. Soggy. What does soggy mean? Soggy is for describing something that is wet and soft in a bad way. Like if you put granola or cereal in a bowl with some kind of liquid, like some type of milk, for example, it can get soggy if you just leave it there. It gets soggy pretty fast, actually. Food just often gets soggy if you just leave it, if you just don't eat it. Or if anything gets wet, you might say it got soggy. You know, like if I left my shoes out in the rain, maybe I would say my shoes are soggy. Okay, the last one is bitter. Bitter. What is bitter? Well, if we're talking about a taste, it can be a sharp, strong, often unpleasant taste. Like, for example, black coffee is bitter. Or cacao. Cacao is bitter. You know, if you don't add sugar to it, it's bitter. But we could also use bitter as like an emotion. If someone feels angry, hurt, or resentful, we could say that they are bitter. He sounded bitter when talking about his ex. She felt bitter after not getting the promotion at work. Sometimes we say that something is bittersweet. If it's like a little good, a little bad. It's bittersweet that you're moving away. I'm happy for you. You're going after what you want in life. But at the same time, I feel a little sad because I will miss you. It is bittersweet, for me at least. All right, how many of those words did you already know? And how many did you learn? Please tell me in the comments. I really want to know. I only teach things on this channel that I hear often in English. In my 27 years of being an English speaker from the United States and consuming content from all around the United States and from many people and interacting with many people, I only teach things that I have heard a lot. Things that we really use in normal, everyday English. It's very important to me to only teach common things. So if you like this video and you'd like more content like this, please give me a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.